Just Eve. Just Eve. I check black first cause it's brilliant. People talk too much. Say this. Remain on code, follow the spirit. When the going gets tough, it's time for resilience. Say less. A fight inherited, no turning back. We're on our way. Tune into Eve at the end of your day.
What's going on, everybody? Happy Sunday. Happy end of March, almost end of March. Today is March 30th, 2025. I'm Eve, and tonight, well, it's not quite night, and I know I'm way early today, but I guess it's because this topic I was supposed to go live about so many times before today that, well, it's like now or never, Eve, right? So, okay, it's now. Now, do American institutions create institutionalized Americans? That's the question. I really hope that you guys have some thoughts. The chat is there for you to use. The comment section is there for, you if you are not able to join us live. That's cool. It's all good. I have so many thoughts, and I promise I'm not going to take too much of your time, as much as I really, 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 really want to try to make sure that I stay on topic. And since I know I'm probably going to get a copyright strike for this, let's go ahead and get this out the way.
Consultation, Dr. Meridian. Edward Nigma has been screaming for hours that he knows the true identity of Batman.
Edward?
Who is it?
It's Dr. Meridian Chase. Do you remember me?
How can I forget?
Dr. Burton tells me you know who Batman is.
I can't tell you if you don't say please.
Edward, please. Who is Batman?
I'm Batman.
I'm sorry. This is one of my favorite scenes from probably not the best Batman movie that's been made, but damn, shout out to you, Jim Carrey. You know how to do some things when it comes to some crazy. And the real Donald Trump. Look, I am talking about college. I'm talking about more than college. I'm talking about all of it. And shout out to you, President Trump, for defunding, dismantling, trying to do something about the Department of Education. I mean, I think it's commendable. I think that you've got a very tough battle ahead of you. And are you subscribed to my channel? If you're not, go ahead and hit the bell so that you know when I'm live, because, I mean, I talk about things with regards to you all the time. Not that I'm playing favorites. When Joe Biden was president, I talked about things with regards to him all the time. And then it's so strange. There are so many people who wanted to blame you for things when you weren't even in charge. And I don't think that that's fair. But I think that that is very similar to an experience that I have as a Black American. I mean, we get blamed for things all the time, and we're not necessarily the culprit. We're not the party involved at all. And then, well, subsequently on the opposite side of things, we've got people who use us when they're not supposed to be using us. Jim Carrey as the Riddler in what is this movie called? The Batman, the Joker. I don't remember what the movie was called. It's from a long time ago, and I'm an old lady, so let's not do that. Let's just talk about what you saw. Uh, if you remember the movie, obviously Jim Carrey was not the Batman. He was a different character, but he is now in the crazy house, and it's it's fitting, right? You've got people going crazy trying to figure out who this anonymous person is, this anonymous entity that is doing things that make sense, but then what's going on? And damn if that's not so similar to what Black America is going through right now, because as witnesses to the tomfoolery, we're watching people use and abuse definitions, understandings, the law to their benefit and to our detriment. So I wonder if it's because of the education system. I mean, I've been talking about this for a little while. As an educator, I find that the system that is supposed to be free and appropriate, it's called a FAPE, FAPE, and it is a designation that comes under the Students with Disabilities Act. And I'm not going to go into all of that. Just know that once they kind of allow something for one group, it's supposed to mean equity, equality. It's supposed to mean that no child is left behind, don't you know? But children are left behind all the time. And then when they're not children anymore, they're forced into a system that they're not prepared for. And I wonder if all of the crazy that we've been dealing with, I mean, really, from you've got beta males, you've got alpha women, you've got coons and fleas and tethers and white people who are not outwardly racist. You've got racist white people saying things that sound like they understand Black America's plight. And it's like, well, damn, I thought you were racist. How can you say such a thing, but you're a racist? And that's it's kind of where we are. You got people telling us how we're supposed to feel and then not actually caring about how we actually feel. Um, the institution, I'm sorry, the institutionalization of Americans, I believe it is at the hands of America. And I know America doesn't even have any hands. So how can I say such a thing? Just check this out real quick.
The reason why Africans have this negative connotation on African Americans is because of the stereotypes, what they're seeing on TV. For an example, my mom, she's American. I don't know what part of Africa she was from. My dad, he's Ghanaian.
She's American, like.
But at the end of the day,
I don't know. They're American.
But,
you wouldn't say that to a Jamaican.
But they're African American, though.
Would you say a Jamaican don't know what part of Africa he's from?
Jamaicans are Caribbean, so they already have their own. Like,
would you say he don't know what part of Africa he's from?
But he know where he comes from. He comes from Jamaica.
Jamaica is from Jamaica, right?
Yes.
An American is from where?
An African American is from Africa and America.
And this is why that term is confusing, is which I hear people just say Black Americans now, because we try to do the right thing and at least acknowledge our ancestry. You don't see a Haitian saying I'm African Haitian or a Jamaican saying I'm African. We try to do the right thing and acknowledge our ancestry, and now it's being used, well, what part? Like, no, just for that, we just Black Americans now. Like, fuck all that African American shit, bro. We Black Americans now.
And it's unfortunate that we have to have these delineating moments, but I think it's fitting. I mean, really, racial identifiers are passe. And what's a tether? I mean, the definition of tether is available for you from the dictionary. I don't have my handy dandy dictionary right here next to me tonight, the real Donald Trump. So please, the definition of tether is going to suit just fine for our conversation and from now on. If you like. If you don't like, there's other people who use the words and maybe they have a different definition that you're copacetic with. But just the act of being attached to, right? You'll see on different social media platforms, people using, well, we're not animals. How can we be tethered? And I feel you. I don't mean to denigrate you. or degrade you or dehumanize you. I do mean that the activity of people who are not American coming to America is very parasitic. And if that is an understanding that we all have, then I don't want to relate you to a parasite. Tether, you are equal in essence, and then you are attached to in a way that maybe you don't even have any control over. I find that I have an empathetic or sympathetic heart for children in general, white children, black children, mulatto children, or whatever, purple children, if there was such a thing, because they don't have a choice. They didn't choose to be here. Now, their instruction, their rearing, their learning, and all of the things that they've been programmed with will turn them into a resource or a detriment, but that's to be determined. Environment, genes, family values, and society can mold a person in a way that you didn't expect. This person, this boogeyman, you, the real Donald Trump, people keep saying that you're such a racist, but I find that it is the bluntness of your approach that I'm comforted by. What do I mean? Okay, so for example, Executive Order 14160, which was ordered on January 20th and then I think decreed a few days later, it's called Protecting the Meaning and Value of American Citizenship. Okay, face value, maybe that just means that the good old boys are going to be protecting each other, but I don't know. I find that the way that people keep misreading things on purpose means that we have to read things together, as a class, because when that one student gets stuck on the word, you don't want them. And I'm sorry, maybe you do want them. I'm letting you know as an educator, if we're all reading together as a class, or if I'm asking you to read on your own, if you get stuck on a word, I don't want you to bypass that word. And you might not want to go to the dictionary and figure out what it means. And that is a real experience I'm having right now with some of y'all's minis, middle school age children who only know devices and technology. They do not like opening a book. But that's neither here nor there. Or it's absolutely here because we're talking about the institutions. And so many Americans should be institutionalized, in my opinion. And it's probably because of the system that they've been working inside of, working with, and maybe they didn't even know. Maybe they thought that they were working against it, and they find that it's actually more of the same. You can't really do anything about something if you can't identify where the problem is. Or maybe you identify the problem, but you don't like the solution, so then you decide that you're going to do something else, right? This executive order from January starts like this: by the authority vested in me as president by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, it is hereby ordered. Section 1, purpose. The privilege of United States citizenship is a priceless and profound gift. Now, here's me. Segue. This is me. Nothing to do with the executive order and everything to do with my thoughts. Listen, you can yourself do a little bit of research just by going on any of these social media platforms and see that there are people who went through the process, did the paperwork, paid the fines, submitted their good person paperwork, and is now an American citizen, and they value that. They've said that it's priceless. A gift from God. Now, back to the executive order, it says the 14th Amendment states, all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. That provision rightly repudiated the Supreme Court of the United States' shameful decision in Dred Scott v. Sanford, 60 U.S. parentheses 19 How in parentheses 393 parentheses 1857 in parentheses, which misinterpreted the Constitution as permanently excluding people of African descent from eligibility for United States citizenship solely based on their race. I know I've read a lot, but I have a little bit more to read before I get to some more of my thoughts. But the 14th Amendment has never been interpreted to extend citizenship universally to everyone born in the United States. The 14th Amendment has always excluded from birthright citizenship persons who were born in the United States, but not subject to the jurisdiction thereof. Consistent with this understanding, the Congress has further specified through legislation that a person born in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof is a national and citizen of the United States at birth, generally mirroring the 14th Amendment's text. Now, what's happening is you've got people from all sides, really all racial sides, saying that they don't understand what that means. But it seems very simple. If you are a citizen and you have a child in America, then that child is also a citizen. But if you are not a citizen in America and you have a child in America, that does not guarantee them citizenship. Period. Nothing in the 14th Amendment says that because you got here, you passed go, you got born here, means that you get citizenship automatically. But because people have been working with some weird agenda to destabilize our nation or to misinterpret the numbers or who's here and who is who, you've got people like the woman on your screen saying that, well, she doesn't know, but she is American. No, ma'am. No. All of the Black Americans know exactly who we are. And since Black American is only a racial identifier and it doesn't actually connect you to the foundation, I would argue that foundational Black American is more apropos. But if you don't like foundational Black American, how about foundational American? Because really, white people can't say that they're of the foundation. They are the colonizers. They've self-identified as such. And I mean, no offense to you, the real Donald Trump, because really, this is not against you. This is just more of truth seeking and speaking. Because, well, from pictures of people hanging in trees after church or church bulletins broadcasting that there will be people hanging in trees. I find that it is the bluntness of the racist white supremacists that makes things very easy. It also makes things a little complicated because some people don't understand how such a person can talk like this. But self-preservation, America for Americans. And if you ain't American, then how dare you? But who is American? Who gets to say? Right now, you've got people who say that they're American, but then they say that they don't know how they're American. Just real quick, back.
The reason why Africans have this negative connotation on African Americans is because of the stereotypes, what they're seeing on TV. For an example, my mom, she's American. I don't know what part of Africa she was from. My dad, he's Ghanaian.
She's American.
But at the end of the day,
I don't know. They're American.
But
Now, that's a good point you bring up in the chat. What about if the father was a non-citizen, but the mom was an American-born citizen? I think see, we've got these outliers, right? These against the grain and not necessarily the norm. Some people are going to have a mixed ancestry. Does that mean that we put off everything to deal with the people who are outliers, or do we need to deal with the majority first and then let the outliers know, hey, you do have a point and we're going to get to it, but first, because that's kind of how I am. I don't know specifically what the biological or societal standards would be for a person who is of an American citizen and not. I mean, I would think that would make them a citizen, but what if their parent was a citizen of a country that is negative towards us? Would we just grant citizenship just because their mom is an American or because their dad is an American? Like, I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I mean, if anybody wants to fund me going to law school, I'm not going to be against that, because I think that there need to be more Americans who give a damn about America, talking about these laws. But as I'm not a lawyer, I can't say that I've done any research about the children of mixed ancestry. So that's just me being honest. And then if you want to talk about how I feel, I mean, I feel like they should be probably an American citizen. And maybe the law reflects it like that. I could look it up. I have so much to talk about. Let me see if I can look it up while another clip plays. But for time's sake, let's just say they are a citizen. So what? So what that this person is a citizen? I mean, that's okay. How many people are fighting what's been decreed that fit into that caveat of half of their origins are of the land? Because I would bet that most of the people, if not more than 90% of the people fighting to say that they are American, are in fact people who just got here and were born here. You've got DACA children, people who are absolutely not Americans, children who were not American at birth, saying that they should be allowed to be American because they got over here at a time where they didn't have any choice. And that's kind of what I started with. I don't think children have a choice. I think that it's really bad to blame a child for their parents' actions, but here in America, we've got children having to go on stand because they saw their parents doing a little work. They saw their parents running some numbers, and now they have to go before a judge and jury and say that they saw something because they've been taught to do the right thing. And the right thing is to tell the truth, don't you know? And tell the truth to our detriment, right? Because then the child is separated from their parents. But no, you've got children who are traveling thousands of miles on their own without their parents. And then they get here and we're supposed to take care of them because they're orphans or something. But then they get here and it's like an anchor or a tether. And then other people get here, and then 20 years later, it's a lot of people from this one family that got here or are here because of that one tether or anchor. And look, don't get me wrong and don't get it twisted. There's a lot of white people out here who are not citizens, from Canadians who just came over here because it's Canada, to Europeans who are over here and have been over here for years and never thought that they actually had to do the things because they're white. They've got the complexion for the protection. So if you're white and you've got the protection, why would you have to do the paperwork, the grunt work, or anything that them niggas do, right? But wrong. I mean, I'm sorry. I think that that's the institution again. People are using what they've learned to make decisions about their adult lives. And I'm sorry to tell you, just as much as Black America was lied to, white America was also lied to. It's a bunch of y'all who have no clue what the fuck is going on. You've just been living your life, thinking that other people are just living their lives. And if something happens or if someone turns into a hashtag, well, what did they do to make that happen to them? But then when something happens to you, you don't ask that question, what did I do? You just immediately say, I didn't do anything, right? And then from your innocence, you have all of this fire and energy. But I'm going to just let you know that what you're experiencing right now is what people have been experiencing for a little while. And I'm glad that you're woke. I'm glad that you were unburdened by, your slumber. But you're not really doing anything that makes sense when you think that it's, subject to you or specific to you. No, American institutions have institutionalized a lot of Americans, and Some of y'all ain't even medicated. Look, I'm going to let you know right now, the fact that you go to your doctor for preventative care means that you're an institutionalized American. And no, you don't have to hug yourself for 23 hours of the day. And no, you don't have to be in a place where you can only go outside for an hour of the day. But you are definitely inside of a box. The rest of the world looks at America and says, y'all can't eat bread because half the population will break out or have some sort of weird gut issues. And then let you get a little bit of money, you go to some country and you find out that the bread is not the bread. It's not the flour. It is the flour. It's not the fact that it's bread. It's the fact that the ingredients here are a lot different than anywhere else. And it is my opinion that it is on purpose. We're not really supposed to be having conversations like this, and we're not really supposed to be able to do things about things, but still we rise. And I believe that it is because most of us have never really plugged into their system. I mean, think about your own schooling. Did you believe everything that you were taught 100%, or was there always something in the back of your head saying, don't really sound right? I went to a white school for like 12 years. So like my high school years, it wasn't as white as the grade school and middle school years, but it was still a white school. And for what it's worth, in my white private education, it was still given to me in a way where you're not going to know that this is you, but because people pay for this education, we're going to have to give it to you, but we're not going to classify, or we're not going to name things what they should be. We're not going to name things their actual name. We're going to whitewash it. And you're going to get the first access to the whitewashing. And then when you become a teacher, you're supposed to be passing on these lies and basically making another generation crazy. And if you really think about it, educators, we've got such a role because it's not just one generation we're affecting. No, we are affecting tons of generations, 50 generations. Some of y'all's teachers are still teachers today. They should have never been teachers when you were in school, and they're still teachers today. They should have quit during the pandemic, but they're still teachers today. And just think about that teacher. Because the good ones, look, we don't get to retire. The good ones, we either quit before it gets us, or it gets us. And then by gets us, I mean, you can literally die at your job. There was one teacher who was found dead in her classroom because she was on some overworked and nobody knew that she was still there. That could happen. Or the fire's gone. You don't give a shit anymore. It's so much that you're up against that. Why fight it? Why not just accept it? But then I would say that you are participating in the institutionalizing of America, and shame on you, because you went into this role saying that you wanted to change things, you wanted to make things better, you wanted to have a society of people who could think. Every time I step into the classroom, I think about the fact that y'all's minis are going to be my not peers, but kind of peers in the future. Not peers because they're not going to be my peers, but kind of peers because we're all going to be adults at some point if they make it there. And if I'm still here, and if we're all adults at one point together at the same time, then I hope that things make sense. Because if you are still out here snot nose and not knowing your left from your right, but you have a driver's license, that's a problem. And yeah, that's a very simple example, but take that and run with it across all areas of people activity. If you don't know your left from your right, how are you doing anything? How are you existing? How are you able to get on the mic and tell people that because you've got a mixed ancestry, and again, this is not against you, the real Donald Trump. This is against the woman on your screen saying that she's half and half and she don't know what half of which half.
Wouldn't say that to a Jamaican.
But they're African American though.
Would you say a Jamaican don't know what part of Africa he's from?
Jamaicans are Caribbean, so they already have their own like.
Would you say?
You know, I wonder if it's because these Caribbean countries are so small that people feel like that. Well, you can't use it like that because Jamaica is like that. And I mean, I kind of feel you. Like if you just look on a map, America is way bigger than any of these other in-between countries, the in-between North America and South America countries. You know, the Caribbean is not a continent as much as everybody wants us to separate them from other places, but then they don't want the connection to other places. It would seem that if you are in a Black-run country that is separated from the world because of colonization or because you are of the diaspora, that means that white people interrupted your story wherever you are, and now you're trying to make the math under your new colonized name. And I say new, like in the last 100 years, mostly all of your countries have been renamed, reflagged, and y'all accepted it. We've been here for a little while, Black America, and 1776 a little bit older than the last 100 years. So you're gonna have to excuse my bluntness here and say that y'all are babies in this argument, and then to come over to America, which is a part of the great continent, North America. And I think maybe aren't y'all also North American, or are y'all South American? And damn, these continents and these names of continents, it makes things very hard to delineate, because if you say that you're a Black American, then you could very much be from Brazil and be melanated and be a Black American. You know, you see how that's kind of confusing? Again, of the foundation native to this land, I think that these are a little more apropos for the conversation, you know, with regards to our geopolitical state. But I find that just having that question makes people glitch. And then think, talk about a glitch. You want to see a glitch? Here's a glitch.
Did you just key a Tesla the other day?
What?
You're on video. Yeah. This is the guy. You just keyed a Tesla. You got a video online. I just saw it. It's all over the fucking face. The media.
You know, Tesla.
Yes, you did. You keyed it.
He said, I ain't key no Tesla. Look, y'all, the fact that, did y'all know that Teslas record the things around them? And I don't mean like every Tesla records everything, but there is an option for you to record the things around you. And well, this is what was recorded. You guys can see for yourself. There's the car, and I'm not gonna zoom in on dude's license tag or anything, but check it out. There he is. Look at it. I mean, I know he tried to be suspicious, inconspicuous even. I'm sorry. He was suspiciously inconspicuous, wasn't he? But there it is, for your viewing and for your evidentiary.
Tesla in a parking lot somewhere around here. What do you got to say about that?
I didn't do that.
Well, you're on video. I said I plainly saw you doing it. You pulled up right next to it and then you keyed it.
Oh shit.
You want to bet?
Whatever.
Okay.
No, does he have on the same jacket?
I mean, they got your
that
license
the
plate.
same
I'm
jacket,
surprised you
y'all?
haven't been contacted by the police yet.
Hold up. Is that the same damn jacket? Does he have on the same coat? Hold up. All right. Not he has on the same outfit.
I mean, what do you have to say? I mean, I saw you do it. I'm just curious. I mean, just because of Elon, you're wearing a USA T-shirt, driving a Korean car. Why would you key an American car? The guy's probably a Democrat that owns it. I think it's a woman. I mean, I'm just curious why you do that.
I mean, why do y'all think he did it? It's crazy, right? Because these old people should know better, right? Shouldn't they? Come on. I mean, tell me. They should know better. This woman right here on your screen, do you see her? Now, when I tell you who she is, you're going to say, Eve, that's not real. That's fake news. It's alt facts. There she go. There she is. That was the whole key. That was the whole key, y'all. Did you see it? Oh, damn. I hope that you can see my screen. I don't even know if you can see it. But that was the whole key came out. It was different than the old man. He tried to hide the key, right? He hid the key. What about this one? What about that one? Because look, I don't know if you can see him all the way back there. Can you see him? Can you see him in the back corner of the video? Look, he's in the back. He done revved all the way up. Boom! Jiggle, 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 jiggle. Okay, let me adjust my seat. Back up a little bit. Let me see if I can back up. Okay, he got arrested. The woman, Camelia Ensler, is the wife of the owner, creator of DocuSign. Do y'all know what DocuSign is? DocuSign is like I get DocuSign documents all the time with regards to business. You know, you want people to sign your PDF document in a way that everybody gets a copy of everything and it's all secure. That's her husband. She has her own company, iPeak Fitness, and it is well, it's a fitness account. Actually, now that I think about it, what's up with these I mean, I guess she kind of looks fit here, right? That's her and her husband. But here, she doesn't look so fit. She actually, oh, you can't even see her anymore. Dang it. Hold on. StreamYard, share my screen. There she is. Okay, so in this video right here, I don't think she looks as fit as she looks in this picture right here. She's pictured with her husband, and in the video is like a real time of her right now. No, I'm not saying she's fat. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying she doesn't look like a fitness influencer. I mean, maybe she's wearing layers and stuff, and that's why she's looking a little dumpy. So I don't know. She's definitely not here with. She's not here with it. But I find that we're in a time where people are glitching in the worst ways, and it's probably because they're not American. really, truly, I don't mean to offend anybody. If you thought you were American and then you found out in 2025 that you weren't American, this is a scary time for you. Really, your parents set you up, and now you've got to pay the price. You're going to have to do some things or get to stepping, which is another form of doing some things. I get that you going back to a country you've never been to is terrifying. But think about it. There are children traveling thousands of miles on their own to a country they've never been to, all because they want a better life. I mean, people are glitching all over the place, and I just feel like it's probably because their citizenship is at stake. Literally don't know or are just finding out that they're not supposed to be here. Like, check this part. You've got people right now in America who are offended at having to walk around with papers. Like, oh shit, did our ancestors not have to walk around with papers? Have y'all not seen the newspaper ads of niggas losing their papers? And oh my God, if you find my papers, will you please bring it to such and such address because I can't be walking around without my papers? Miss me with y'all's offense because I'm sorry, that's in my story. And even if you weren't enslaved, you still had to walk around with some sort of identification. So I know that you understand where I'm coming from. And maybe you thought that I was kind of lumping you in. No, all the niggas in America, all the black people on this landmass that have been here were not all enslaved. No, some knew to stay away. I mean, it's like that movie Apocalypto, right? And if you ever watch it with no subtitles, because I do, and then sometimes I try to, think about what was being said as much as I've already watched it with the subtitles, so I know what's being said. But, if you haven't seen Apocalypto and then you go watch it for yourself, maybe you've come to an understanding that, when they were seeing the ships land, and people were like, no, we don't go into the woods. And then some people were like, no, we don't go to the beach. Maybe y'all asses should have gone to the woods. Maybe you go interior. I mean, if you look at history, you can see that at least Africa didn't got all in one day. No, it took years to my African cousins across the water. Don't get me wrong. The ones of you who flee here and are parasitic to my brothers and sisters of this land, I don't like that. And I know that you on your land don't like that people leave the fight. So now that we're in agreement, look, this is not to denigrate the motherland, right? This is to put some appropriate respect on your story. It took hundreds of years before they were able to infiltrate, and they couldn't even get inside. Not until later. So shout out to y'all, because here on our landmass, the infiltration kind of happened because of our big hearts. Seeing white people eat each other might make you want to show them, hey, this is food. You can eat this. You don't have to eat her. Right. And then to our detriment, because now these people are giving us blankets with disease and we're dying in mass. And then the ones of us who are not dying are being sold off because we are victims of our humanity, but still we fight. So while the infiltration kind of happened like that, it's never been a full takeover. The infiltration with y'all happened over time, and the takeover is real. You still have slavery in Africa. What's that? There is no slavery in America that isn't considered trafficking or some other term that, because it's not happening exclusively to us, can we say, or can white people say, well, that's not slavery, that's human trafficking, that's not slavery, that's whatever you want to call it, right? You know, you can't equate our trauma and then say that because we've all been traumatized, we're all owed the same debt. No. But I believe that that's part of the American institutions trying to create a society of whack jobs. I mean, really, this nigga on your screen put all 400 pounds of himself into this four-wheeler, backed up, and then rammed his vehicle into a Tesla that has a camera on it. And don't tell me that he's not somebody who's online. No, he done jerry-rigged and souped up that four-wheeler by himself because he got the schematics on somebody's YouTube. And no, he's very much capable of knowing that Teslas have surround sound with the cameras. But no. No, we've got more of this and less of things that make sense. More of this.
Would you select these people to be federal judges with zero? A third of all DC district judges were not born in the United States. So there's 15 district court judges, and 5 of them were not born in the US. 5 of them. I mean, we're a nation of 340 million citizens. We can't find judges. We have to import them from foreign-born nations. I mean, this is insane. Even worse. None of these judges had any judge experience before they were put on the federal bench. And every single one of these foreign-born judges is involved in an anti-Trump case. I mean, it has to be orchestrated, doesn't it? Why would you select these people to be federal judges with zero experience?
I know. It's probably to throw off the balance here, right? And again, more of the same. Do American institutions create institutionalized Americans? I believe it's on purpose. It is a byproduct and product of the system. A third of all the DC district judges are immigrants, but then they're supposed to be able to interpret our law. But then they probably come from a country that don't speak English. What's going on? What's going on? Like, it's my thought that, if you are not a citizen, if you are not a person who's supposed to be here, not only should you not be protecting our borders, but you should not be interpreting our laws. Where else do they do that? I mean, is there any other country that they do that? And I know I can Google it. Google's my friend. I know. And for what it's worth, I did do a little searching for you, the real Donald Trump. It looks like if your parent is an American citizen, you may acquire U.S. citizenship at birth, but it depends on a couple different residency requirements. So, you would have to make sure that you check all the boxes, and then, yeah, you would be an American citizen. So, people who are naturalized, like they've been here for a long time working a job, they are a permanent green card holder. I don't know if that qualifies because you are in sense of somewhere else. So unless you've stripped your ties to that other place, then I don't know if you should be able to be American. I personally have issues with dual citizenship, but we'll go into that at a later date. So just for tonight, kind of crazy, right? People who don't have the background doing things that have life consequences for the people who are supposed to be here. But then if you think about the politicians, you think about people who were voted into office, and there's a lot of them who are also not supposed to be here. And when I say not supposed to be here, I mean they are illegally here. They got here illegally. They did some illegal paperwork, and now they are telling you that you need to make sure that your child is in school, because if they're not, then you're going to jail. What about their illegal ass? They didn't go to jail for being here illegally. No. We get told by Jasmine Crockett and the likes of the Democrats that it's not criminal to break the law as an illegal. What? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Again, I'm not a lawyer, so you're not going to sit here and say that I'm misinterpreting the law that I paid to study and get the letters that say that I can represent other people in court because of my understanding of the law. No, I'm just a citizen, a person who's supposed to be here despite the odds, in spite of the odds. And as such, I find that these others, well, they're doing things on purpose. And it's because they want to replace us, or they want us to not pass go. You know, if you read the works of Dr. Claude Anderson, you'll find that a permanent underclass is the only way that this country works. It's the only way that this country has been able to continue to work in spite of the history that when it's white run, 200 years, maybe 300 years. But that's it. We've been here for a little longer than that, and I would give that grace and benefit to the fact that the foundation, the people of the land, never stopped fighting. So we've been instrumental in keeping our country afloat. But what happens when we say enough is enough? What happens when we say figure it out yourselves? Well, this is what happens. You've got 2025, a person who everybody was comfortable saying is a racist, teaming up with a person who everybody was saying wasn't a racist. And now you've got Teen Titans, right? Donald Trump and Elon Musk are not supposed to be a pair that made sense for America. Yet here they are doing things that put America first. And I wonder, do they understand the enemy of my enemy is my friend? Or are they just really hoping and wishing that most of America isn't already lost? Because if that's the case, then they will have to spend their money abroad. They will have to deal with the turmeric and curry spiced people in fields that make way more money than their average person. And, you know, the recoloring of America 2.0 from Mexican to Indian, right? Shout out to JD Vance. I'm sorry, shout out to Kamala. No, shout out to Camellia, who, you know, said that her money, it didn't matter that she's the wife of a millionaire. She feels some kind of way about Elon. So she's going to do something about Elon. Do y'all know that there was a whole person who blew himself up? I know I didn't show it to you tonight, but there's a person out here blew himself up trying to mess with these Teslas. And it's like, that doesn't mess with Elon as much as it messes with the people that they don't have as much money as you, Camellia. They can't just go buy another car tomorrow because their husband's a millionaire. I don't know anybody who's in this situation right now who has a Tesla and has the money to say, fuck this Tesla, I don't like the way Elon's doing anything. I don't know these people. So if y'all know these people, please point them out to me, because I'm almost sure that they are of the upper 5% of America. And then if they are of the upper 5% of America, I am almost sure that 5 years ago they were on Elon's side. That's why they have a Tesla. So if they were on Elon's side when he was a Democrat, and the only thing that's changed is that he is putting America first in the fiscally responsible way, the slashing of the budgets and making sure that we're not overspending way. Could you be a person that is overspending and making America having to rely on foreign entities? Are you an American that is creating institutionalized Americans? Because if that's you, that's probably why you feel uncomfortable about what Elon is doing. But, don't get me wrong. I too used to have some kind of feeling about it because he is not American, right? He's not like me. I mean, on paper, he's like me, right? African American, African American. It's the same, right? Okay, obviously, y'all know it's not the same. And since it's not the same, we're going to have to get rid of some of these designators, some of these identifiers. They don't work anymore. Some of these names, they don't work anymore. And the institutions that are run down by these people who are not putting America first, they need to be dismantled, defunded, and something else needs to happen. I used to feel some kind of way about seeing a school that didn't get the numbers go out of quote, quote, business. But if you're just going to continue lying to the population and lying to these new groups of adults that we all have to deal with, and then all of us are having to have these stuck on stupid moments because people don't understand basic English, well, maybe the problem is because their native language isn't English. Look, I'm not trying to make y'all mad tonight as much as I really, really, really hope that you've considered the fact that your schooling, your upbringing, what you've been educated on probably was designed to make you go crazy. Literally, if you're out here fighting for what's ours, you are textbook definition crazy, because why would you go against the system? Why would you think that anything that you're going to do is going to fix anything? Right? And then you stop fighting because it's too much. On the opposite side of that, people who are not fighting, there's people who don't know their left from their right, yet they're dealing with the price of eggs. And yeah, I know the price of eggs have come down a little bit. Y'all won't actually hear the mainstream media talk about the fact that the price of eggs have come down a little bit. They were so mad about the price of eggs, but the cost has come down. Go to the grocery store, check it out yourself. Them bitches used to be $24.99 and now they're about $17.99. It's still very expensive for eggs, but baby steps, right? If you don't want to be an American who gets forcibly institutionalized, or if you don't want to be an American who is forcibly removed from where you're supposed to be, I would say that it's time to unlearn and relearn. You can start with the 14th Amendment. Really, go look at the Constitution for yourself with your own eyeballs while you have eyeballs, while it's free, because everything's not free. And read it yourself. Once you read it, start trying to piece together why other people would want you to think that it means something else. In the jurisdiction thereof, that means that children who don't have any rights here, children don't have any rights, not really. They are their parents' liability. So if you are the parent and you are not even the liability of the country, how dare you put your liability on us? We've got enough homeless people and vets. And oh, by the way, the foundation of this nation, that we've got a debt to pay. We can't be looking for other problems to solve when there is a glaring problem in our face. And then look, once that problem is solved, it's a trickle-down effect for these other problems. You won't have to worry about the economy being stimulated because niggas buy and are a professional consumer class. We'll talk about that on another night. I hope you enjoyed what I had to say tonight. If you did, hit the likes. If you wanted to make someone as uncomfortable as you were, make sure you share the show. Good night.
Just keep Just eat.